Thank you.
Yep. Okay, I think we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Everybody have a chance to look at the meetings of the last meeting. Was there any additions or corrections that we need to make?
I move to approve the minutes as written.
It's been moved by Amanda,
Second.
second by Cale. All in favor? Minutes approved. Consent agenda. We need permission for clerk to pay insurance at time of billing, to pay utilities at time of billing, to pay utility incentive before the 25th of the month, to pay theater bills when due, to pay payment service network bills when due, and to pay LKM dues of $959.81.
I'll move to.
Moved by Larry,
Second.
second by Dara. All in favor? Approved. We'll jump right down to new business. We got cereal malt beverage license for Majestic Service, Colorado Retail Ventures, and Diamond R Bar. It's filed all the correct paperwork.
Yep. Yep.
So do I have a motion to approve those three?
Colorado
licenses?
Retail's the Kmart.
Yeah.
So moved.
Been moved by Amanda,
Second.
second by Dara. All in favor? Approved. Old business, law enforcement agreement.
I think the language, Lana and I were visiting this afternoon, language discussions that we're having with the county attorney are really not very material. I think that the boilerplate is ready to go, assuming that Amanda got, what, 45,000? Was he going to take that, or what was the result of your discussions?
They went with what we offered.
So, we should have gone lower.
We might
The
have.
only thing, since we negotiated and countered, and of course it was right after that snowstorm, he said, I didn't think about the weather in the car, I might ask for the expedition.
Yeah, I might want the expedition.
But there's nothing in writing, there's nothing formal, that's not a counter.
Yeah.
It was just kind of left that Cody was working with us and the commissioners were okay with it, so I don't know.
He was wondering what we were going to do with it, and, I mean, if they want to come back and give us a little bit for it, put it in that. So, okay, so,
Wasn't much.
yeah, we're not going to get much out of it.
I don't know that we could even get clean
Between 2,000 and 4,000, so.
What's an ADA on?
Okay, for a trade-in,
2225.
yeah, clean trade-in, 2,225. Average is $1,650.
So you'd be like $1,500 if that was
Trade.
It's got a lot of
Yeah.
miles on it, I think.
And then it's a 2003, so it's not gonna be, okay.
What's retail?
Four.
Yeah, 4,000 for clean retail. So,
Try to get 3 out of it.
I guess we'll just wait and see if they offer and want to purchase it or not, or probably just put it on the,
That being the case, we'll go ahead and finalize the agreement, put that number in, and get it to the commissioners for their next meeting on the 15th, right? And then
16.
we'll have it for the council meeting on the 23rd.
23rd.
And that value is just the regular exhibition. This probably has a cage and
Yeah.
That's true too,
some
yeah.
equipment in it and set up
It had-
for law enforcement.
It had some equipment and stuff in it, and so hopefully he would adjust for some of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he didn't mark it all at the price we went. We might have been able to go a little lower. I don't know too much, but maybe. Okay, next item is street project. Any more on that? Just gotta wait. And electrical infrastructure.
Nothing. I've still haven't heard anything back from them. They have all the information that RBW put together for a bid packet, and I haven't heard anything back since they've received it.
Okay. Property cleanup.
Judge signed the order on foreclosure on the Fuller property, when was that, late last week? The defendants, Polar heirs, have 60 days to clean up the property, and if they don't, then basically the city can go in and dispose of the personal property and make arrangements to razz the property being, the cost then being assessed against the property put on a tax roll.
Do you think anybody's gonna, any of the related, they're not gonna come and do that?
The only people that filed an answer were 3 nephews and nieces from a predeceased son. They got Jake Kling, and basically their answer said, we don't want anything to do with it, we'll disclaim any interest, but we don't want any judgment against us, and Jake signed off on the journal entry. The rest of the folks we were able to serve, most of them, some of them just didn't pick up their summons, which we did by publication. I don't know if have we gotten those costs, or do we pay them? Well, whatever. But no, we're not going to have an issue. There's some personal property on there, though, that I don't know what we're going to do with it. Isn't there a vehicle or two?
Yeah, there's probably at least,
Just 1 or 2?
I'm sorry?
Is it just 1 or 2?
Yeah, some of it did get removed, but yeah, there is still.
there's still probably at least 3 or 4 there, isn't there?
Maybe the county wants to buy
Five,
it.
but I haven't been by there in a while. What's that?
None of them are worth anything either.
Maybe the county want to turn into law enforcement vehicles. Bait vehicles. There you go.
Okay, projects pending. Any discussion on any of that? Do we want to put the, JR, do you want to put the seats on this project pending now? Because we need to just stay on top of it.
Probably, I guess probably so. The seating for the band show, we had Sandblaster look at it, and we're trying to figure out what we can do to get that removed and/or what we can do to put it back in a usable shape, because right now it's just coming apart. So hopefully we can put together a project and then seek money for it. So yeah, we should put it in there and stay on it, especially if we continue
Yeah, let's put
to
that
use it.
seating area at the band show on this project pending.
Do you think there's potential for grant money for something like that?
Without doubt. I think it'll be flowing for that, absolutely.
Have you talked to Greg?
Not yet. You can go back to what it was. And I think with paint, I'm hoping we can, because if we remove what's on it, then we have to look at structural, because of where it's separating on the concrete, to get it back to that state. And then what we're proposing or hoping to propose is the rubberized paint with grit in it, something that's actually got traction to it.
Cool paint.
Yes, and that it would be, I guess, surprising if that wasn't where you're not changing the structure or anything, you're basically painting it, which it was painted before, but there's hope to get it to something more usable. What do you think in your head,
I think the Historical Society, basically their concept of it retaining, going back to its original state, is deteriorating into dust.
Oh, no, I agree.
Yeah.
But we just want to make sure we're not going to do something like the courthouse did, where we do something that has to be undone.
No,
That's a major issue, so we do have to cross that.
Well, the stuff we put on it, which was probably done here 20 years ago,
Yeah.
wasn't the right stuff to put on there. It held moisture, and that wasn't good. Just blew on there, plastered on there, and then it had all those little pockets where the moisture could sit on there. And
So in fact, I actually want to do this as a Sawhill improvements on this pending list, because I want to put in the tree plan and the lighting plan into that also, like to wrap a whole improvements for Sawhill into that. I'd have that as an item here, because we're currently working on prices of planting some well-established trees, 8 of them, because of our ash that are dying out in that area, so let's change it to Sawhill improvements.
Just a side.
I would think that's a good idea, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I would think for grant money for all those things should be.
Just a side note to what Jared's talking about, keeping using the band show, we're in contact with a group out of Colorado right now that's an 80s rock band. That's really good. The Long Run guys actually put us on to them. And I actually saw them over the weekend. And we'll see if we can get the figures right and then be able to lock something in for alumni again. That's our goal, is to try to hit alumni first. If that doesn't happen, then we're going to look a different route. But whether we go motorcycle rally or something else, we'll see. Nothing concrete yet.
Anything else on project pending? Okay, let's move on to Keller Pond report.
I don't have any updates. Nothing's changed.
Okay. Theater report.
I don't have anything.
I might as well put this on the theater report. I had a conversation with Robert last week. He called about some other issues like the ceiling tile and whatnot. We had the same conversation I just mentioned as far as the Sawhill Park, where I think there's quite a few things that should be looked at. There's the electrical, the tiles, there's some external water damage that's happening on the back because of some drainage issues. In doing that, he was aware of a contact in Burlington that did some design work for their theater, where they just kind of revamped the thing. And we're going to meet with him Wednesday. There's no cost in doing that or anything, but just see whether there's a project that could be put together there and potentially look for grant money, of course, again. So we'll come back with details after that meeting.
Okay. Building permits.
Don't have any.
Superintendent report.
Cleanup's finishing up. The metal is the only thing that is not.
We were moving along so well.
I knew you'd do this. See, I was trying to move this along. Now, the cleanup's about finished up. Just have some metal to pick up. It was about average as far as how much cleanup there was. You know, a lot of the idea that's to help people clean up their property, the ones who really want to. Sometimes don't take advantage of it, but it's still a good service. The 5-year plan, we had put that thing in quite the limbo based on our electrical contract not expiring until 2021 when our revenue shift could take place. Obviously, that's taken place early with them going back on October, and of course the next 2 years of revenue. That being said, I'm going to talk to Lila a little bit about our equipment reserve. There were some things that we had in 2019 that based on that, trying to get some electrical work done, which we're still trying to do, that was pushing forward or just kind of indefinitely because of that electrical contract expiration time. I'm going to get some numbers and come back and we'll rework this thing since our revenue is going to be in line to get some of that equipment replaced that we need to sooner rather than later. Still working on another price for the water control system. That's kind of a high dollar item. The one estimate we do have is almost $90,000 on it. We're still using one that's 18 years old. They installed it in the first couple months that I was here, so it's quite old, antiquated. Still working on that. Hopefully, I'd like to get at least 3 prices for us to consider for that thing. There's quite a few different ones out there.
So what's that do?
It runs the wells. The distribution system keeps the pressure as it should be. So it runs the wells and the reservoir to maintain water coming to the city. The distribution, we redid this sometime back, the water rights. I shifted the water rights from 8 to 6 and 7. We'd had some over-pumping issues in years past. Continually, we did get the water right shifted sometime back. Had to get the, I guess, the point of diversion changed. That's done. So those well rights are all completed and done. We were already pumping it properly, but the final step is taken now. And I'll try to summarize for the file for the next person who tries to figure this out, what the actual rights are, because they start at one point and they transfer and they get kind of complicated. But anyway, that process is completed.
And that's something we really got to keep on top of.
Absolutely. They get pretty serious. You get 2 years, the 3rd year in a row, you're really in trouble. But this new distribution of it at the points of diversion should make it where, I don't want to say it's impossible, we shouldn't have trouble keeping the right well pumping the right water. It's always been kind of confusing because they're so close that they had 4 rights on 3 wells and the distribution of it was kind of a nightmare. But we've got that cleaned up. We are going to maintain well 8, by the way, for emergency purposes. In doing this, I was looking through some files and found out that our wells, capacity tests have not been checked since the end of 2016. We used to have Sergeant Drilling do that. So I'm currently seeking the services of a well testing company so we can keep a handle on our efficiency. You don't want to wait till those things either aren't pumping or fail completely. They should be tested regularly. And that's all I have.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for JR? If not, do I hear a motion to accept and file the superintendent report?
So moved.
Moved by Larry,
Second.
second by Cale. All in favor? Approved. Attorney,
I don't have anything.
clerk report.
Oh, this is moving right along.
We're gonna set a record here.
No, I think you survived.
Gee
yeah.
whiz. So I just would like to know, does the city want to put something on the Cheyenne-Monopoly game? There's a corner spot,
Not
but...
anymore.
What's that?
There's no more corner spots.
Oh, okay.
I don't think.
She called this afternoon and said there was jail, but I didn't think...
Oh, maybe there is.
I mean, that
Okay,
felt
it might be.
like...
I might be wrong.
I don't know if the city wants to be jail. But it's your decision. The corner spot is $300, and then one of these other squares, I'll just pass it around, there's a lot of the other squares that are available,
Do
and
they
they're
have like the
$200.
utilities?
What's that?
Utility.
Utilities?
It's not really like
Oh,
that with,
okay.
you can look at that, it's just the logos.
I see.
But if you know where the utilities are on the regular Monopoly game, we could pick that spot. It could come out of the, probably the transient guest tax fund, because it will be used to promote the community and promote.
Who is Go?
I don't know.
Mm.
With jail spots left, that's probably the only one left on the corners. We could put it under tax, pay income tax.
Yeah.
Uh,
So are the others available then? The other sites?
Yeah, so all the corners except for the one were spoken for, the money's spoken for, but there were a lot of spots open. I don't know which ones
Oh.
specifically, but she said there were a lot that were still open around the outside. So if we want to do it,
Yeah, I thought
feel like it would
before
be
that one
nice.
under- I know DC took one, CC 4C took one, the North South Museum took one, so I thought they were all filled in.
Is it like the utilities on these?
I don't remember if they played the game or not. Could be.
Well, I think we should be on there.
I agree.
Helen does a lot of work, and she's promoting. She really, this is the best CCDC we've ever had, so we need to keep supporting her and make her feel like she's doing her job and getting things done.
Are you thinking J1 or J2? I'd be in favor of just any of the spots. I kind of agree with Dara about there having to be one of these that is normally utilities on the board.
Can we Google the Monopoly page?
That's all.
What do the other spots cost? Are they
Oh,
200?
200 on the regular spots.
yes.
Corner ones were 300.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's your go to jail one. Just like over is
Water,
Waterworks.
you know, 2 spots over is Waterworks, from jail.
Jail one.
Yeah, and it's still on that one. Good.
Mhm.
Utilities is by jail?
Electricity's over here, the light bulb.
And what's the go to jail? So 2 from that or 2 from the actual jail? Do the lights.
I'd be in favor, you can find one of those that has two utilities. Can you get his J2?
It's
Yeah,
J1.
J1.
J1 would be the.
Or J2,
J1 would be the
Electric.
lights and J2 would be the
water.
waterworks.
How much were the signs?
200.
Would you want to do both of them?
That's what I was thinking.
Mhm.
Both.
Water and
Water
electric?
and electric, yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah.
I need a question
Yeah.
for you, not.
Okay, if they're both
Who wants to
available.
make a motion to do, be J1 and J2 on here, so that's what looks like it's electrical and water on the regular Monopoly game. Who's making the motion?
I will.
Motion been made by Cale. Here's second.
Second.
Second by Larry, all in favor?
Excuse what we're.
Approved. Okay,
Okay.
2 spots.
All right, I'll call her right away. And since we haven't gotten our tax statements yet, but they'll be due on the 20th, I need permission, a motion from the council to pay it out of cycle, to pay our taxes. We have Keller Pond, and then we have some groundwater use tax. Those are the only 2 things, but I'll have to pay them promptly when we get our statements.
I'll make a motion to pay non-cycle.
Been moved by Amanda,
Second.
second by Derek, all in favor?
And then I need to request an executive session for non-elected personnel to discuss an individual employee's benefits.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do I hear a motion to accept and file the clerk report?
So,
Moved by Cale,
Second.
second by Larry, all in favor? Approved. Okay, council comments. Cale. Amanda?
Just food for thought on the Empire property. You know, we talked about possibly deeding that to CCDC
Oh, okay.
or letting them make the decision. And I know Helen's concern was property taxes. And my thought was if the city already allots so much to them a year, we could maybe offset that and pay a little bit extra to cover that if we were going to deed the property to them. And I've been looking and working with her as far as trying to maybe get them to apply for exemption to see if they could be exempt from property taxes where they're a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So I think there'd be 2 options, whether or not they approve for exemption from Board of Tax Appeals, or the property taxes are $500 a year, we say we'll pay an additional $500 to help offset.
Yeah, I don't know what the council thinks about that. You know, basically deeded, they are the economic development, whether or not you want to give up control.
I wasn't here last time, so I'm
Oh.
kind of not in on the whole
Okay.
thing,
Well,
Sorry.
you should start attending meetings.
I know.
The rest of us have to. No. Some discussion with regards to the city deeding the Empire Motel property to economic development, to kind of take the politics out of it from the standpoint of this board. Obviously, it's going to be used for economic development. There would seem to be a perfect vehicle to use that. But again, the discussion would be whether or not the council, given the money and the investment and effort that they have in this, whether or not they feel comfortable turning it over to economic development.
And we can't do it with the stipulations and,
Can't do it with the stipulation that we stipulate, well, you
Yeah.
could, yeah, I
Or
think
not.
you could put whatever stipulation you wanted to on it, but again, the thought was to kind of take the politics out of it.
And Helen's concern, without talking to the rest of the board, was insurance and taxes.
Yeah.
And so that's why she called to get the tax amount, and I think it was right around 500, and I thought, try to get exemption from Board of Tax Collector. If they're a nonprofit, I don't know why they couldn't qualify.
Yeah, another benefit, I think, to just thinking of it would be she's in a better position to really get out and promote it and be the go-to person than the council would be.
But my thought is if it's going to cost them so much more in taxes and insurance, maybe we just allot a little bit more to help offset that for them. Just a thought.
But can we still do it like you said too, is we still have control, but we have control of the land, but she has control
Of the
of
market.
marketing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think she'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got two concerns with the deal, and maybe I've had different conversations than Amanda's had, but number one, I've kind of got the feeling from Helen that maybe she's a little bit hesitant about doing it because of us just dumping it on her, so to speak. Number two, I don't know how convinced she is that the board will actually approve it. And then the last concern I've got a little bit is, how much longer are we going to have Helen? And she's 70 years old, I think. I never would have
That's not
guessed.
old.
No, no.
Well, you know.
I've already been thrown under the bus enough. I wouldn't.
But she's the director. Would she have any voting power? I mean, it would be the board that would be the ones that could ultimately make the decision, correct?
Yeah,
Other than
that's
she would be the one pushing the advertising
But
and
isn't
promoting it.
Scott's decision ultimately the solution? We retain ownership, but essentially kind of hire her as our real estate agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think she's all for that.
Yeah.
Maybe try that
I
for now.
think that'd probably be the way to go for now.
She's talked about a couple of different options that she has to get it out there. Sunflower.
Yeah, we're working on that right now, and that, we haven't done anything for that yet.
Just put a stipulation in there, she can't get Randy Gravy involved.
Can't get it.
Randy Gravy involved. That goes back to him.
Don't worry about that, she's not gonna let Randy house it. So,
His only involvement, if Helen had any say, would be his place of interment. You know, I think that's a good idea, Scott.
go that route and then see what happens. That way we can get it out there a little bit more and she'll push it a little bit more for us and stuff. And I know she's been kind of trying to find stuff, but just nothing's falling into place.
And if she runs into cost or something, I mean, she can come back to us.
Oh, yeah, just come back to us and
Uh-huh.
report what she's coming up with, and we'll figure out from there what to do with them, so.
Did we get that Roddy deed?
No.
It's ready to go.
Okay.
The Roddy deed on lot, industrial park,
Oh, for
Arley, Tim, and Robin.
I haven't seen it, no.
I don't know if you want to do anything with that this evening, get,
Haven't seen it.
what's that?
well, I don't know how anxious they are, Tim and Robin. I guess if there's no pressure, if they're not that concerned, we can wait till the next meeting, but have the mayor be approved to sign it on receipt of the money. Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. I know, I'll try.
Or during the attorney report?
So hopefully we're gonna get out here by 7:30 and take you.
Short time.
Okay, now how far did I get around here? Did I get to Larry? There?
Oh.
You stopped at me.
Okay.
I
There.
don't have any.
I don't know.
Larry? Yeah. Okay, well, let's stop here. Let's go over the bills on ordinance 1033, and then we'll go to executive session.
Oh,
I don't need, unless you guys want to stay, you don't have to.
I can't remember to say, wait a minute, like, yeah. Good night, folks. We'll see you at the next, we will not be here. We are going to be in D.C. for the next meeting.
I'll be gone gone
that
too.
need here.
Kayla's
Have a good evening.
on.
See ya.
See ya.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yes,
You
Merry
too.
Christmas.
It should be a really short meeting, I would
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah.
Very short. Well, maybe that night too, we can go over those assignments on different boards and stuff. Like Amanda said, maybe somebody wants to change up, see who wants to change up that night. And then we'll also have to vote on the chairperson or the board, since Roger won't be it anymore.
Hmm.
So, and I could see one of you.
Amanda's been on here the longest.
Well, that's the way I figured it would go, and that's the way it probably should go, so. So when we get to that, then you can decide on that too, and
So whether you want it or not.
I'm fine with it.
Cody's a new employee. Like I said, I've been gone, so I signed a
Cody,
check.
Cody Workman. Yes, we hired her to fill the municipal court clerk / part-time office assistant job. She's doing fabulous.
Oh, okay.
She's just jumped right in there, and
Good.
yeah, she's working out really, really
Okay.
great.
And she's part-time? then?
Yes. Yeah.
where do we have to move a fire alarm panel?
I think that was at the power plant.
Hmm.
That one that JR had been talking about. Water was leaking on it or something.
Did people reply to the bids for the pool?
I haven't seen any.
No.
It was in there to
Sorry.
call JR, but he hasn't mentioned anything, so I don't know.
Is that enough for the concrete roof?
Yeah, that's what it says, concrete.
What's Bright Beginnings?
Oh, that's a daycare center, so it's their utility incentive.
Has Mike mentioned anything to anybody about recommendations on what we're gonna do when he is retired?
And it's basically saying Lauren's probably gonna be our only option. I mean, other than going out of county to get one, and that's probably not right. Or, when the county's done that, it's never worked out very good.
Does she have to be, I mean, she would have to agree to it though, wouldn't she? I don't know how that
Yeah.
process works. And he's been, since 1975, I looked that
Oh, my
up.
gosh.
I asked him today if he'd stay on until April so we don't have to rush into that decision, and he will. So, but I don't know if he's already visited with Warren, I don't know. He thought she would do it. But I don't know what else we do.
I think you'd want some sort of transitional period, probably from January through April, so from April 18th or whatever, it's just not a here's the files, you know.
Here you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Clean out half your vault, because I'm gonna bring over a bunch of city files.
Yeah.
Good luck
As
sorting
she
through 'em.
starts, yeah, coming in
Yeah.
or something.
And Mike said he would try to help out if we got in a bind and she needed help or something, because, yeah, he said, got a lot of knowledge there that
Mhm.
goes forever,
Yeah.
so. Okay, any questions on the bills? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the ordinance 1033?
So moved.
Moved by Amanda,
Second.
second by Cale. All in favor? Approved. Okay, I guess we can do your,
Hand me the warrant register there.
Yeah, okay.
Perfect.
I don't know.
Thank you.
Did you want those or, I did all four of the vehicles.
Oh.
And I don't know which, is she taking the 15 or 14 insurance?
Well, I think he's gonna take the one that had the less miles on it, and I don't know which, that's got 7 or more.
Well, this is just a
That's,
estimate.
oh, okay,
This
that's.
is the newer one. But I thought Daryl's is newer, but Jonathan's, I thought was the one he was taking.
I'm not sure.
So I don't know. Which it could
Yeah.
be the one with less miles if we only had Daryl's
Right.
for the longest
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Good.
I think he'd go with the one with the less miles on it.
So anyways, there's
Yeah, I was
those in
just
there.
if there was any potential out there.
Yeah, I didn't think about the equipment and cage and stuff in there.
Yeah, that's kind of worse than mine.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I thought Gerald's had reduced mileage.
What's that?
I thought Gerald's had less miles, or maybe it was just the newer one.
This is the
I'm
newer
not sure
one.
either. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I thought the other one was older and more miles.
Okay, so what'd you have?
Non-elected personnel for individual employees' benefits.
How long?
3 minutes probably.
Make a motion to go into executive session for non-elected personnel to discuss individual employee benefits for 3 minutes to resume at 7:40 with everybody present.
Second.
Okay. Who wants to make the motion that we go ahead and provide the insurance for the next 2 months?
I'll make a motion to, that's not really provide, but to
Pay for.
pay for coverage for Jonathan for his health insurance for 2 months until he can get on with the county.
Okay, it's been moved by Amanda, second by Dara, all in favor? Approved. Yeah, I forgot that you mentioned that the other day too. Almost a record.
Pretty close.
What is the record, 30 minutes?
I don't know. About 30 minutes is the shortest one up down here.
Yeah. Those are pretty rare.
We might be able to do,
Next
we
time.
might be able to do next meeting.
Yeah,
The
probably.
next meeting.
That one goes pretty fast.
It goes way fast.
Are you motioning to adjourn?
I'm motioning to adjourn.
Next meeting, so I hope he does show up.
I'm going to adjourn.
Oh,
I got an even second, though.
Oh.
she walked.
It's first to stand up. First to stand up.
Oh.
Gail seconded.
Kale second. Oh.